name is Kayla Alexander. I am a professional basketball player. I've been playing professionally for the past 8 years, 7 in the WNBA, 8 overseas in numerous countries, and I am a member of the Canadian Senior Women's National Team. As far as my book, I am the co-author of 2 books. One that I co-wrote with my sister called The Magic of Basketball. It's a children's book. And the second book is Women for the Win that I got to co-author alongside 10 other incredible women in the sport of basketball, from athletes to coaches to in the sports world in general. It was a great book. And I'm just very thankful that I had the opportunity to write or be a part of 2 books so far. The first thing that I like to tell people is, although I'm an athlete, I am a human being first. And at the end of the day, when I take my jersey off, I'm a human when I'm walking down the street. People don't think of Kayla Alexander as a basketball player when I'm walking down the street. I'm Kayla Alexander, a woman, a Black woman, a human being. So I think it's important that we do keep politics in sports because it affects all of us. Also, with our platform as athletes, some of us are fortunate enough to have reach that not everybody else has. So I think it's important to use the platform that we have to educate, empower, inspire, and educate about what's going on, especially when it comes to politics, because ignorance is bliss. And if people don't know what's going on, we can provide a platform that can educate people so they become aware and make better and more informed decisions. So I personally, as an athlete, will never keep politics out of sports because I'm a human being first and politics affects me, whether I play sports or not. Okay, that was frustrating to watch, although if I'm being honest, I wasn't surprised by it. You would think by now we're in the year 2021 that we would have progressed forward, but unfortunately there are still some things that we need to continue to work towards improving. I will say that I was thankful for all the people that spoke out and demanded change of the NCAA. It's showing how much we've changed as a society in realizing that no, everything needs to be equal now. We need to have equality for both the men's sports and the women's sports. So I was very thankful to see just how much people spoke up, from athletes, coaches, even non-athletes, those who were just wanting to watch and support women's sports. So I think it's great to see that. I'm hoping that the NCAA will learn, although we're seeing this replay again on the women's side of the volleyball NCAA tournament. I think at the end of the day, in order for us to achieve real change, one, we need to continue to speak out when we see things that we don't like in that instance. And two, I think it starts at the top. Like the people who are making the decisions, they can't all look the same. They need to have diversity. They need to have people who come from different walks of life, people who are have actual experience being athletes in those situations or who are part of the day-to-day. We need more diversity. We need change for change to happen. So yeah. Ooh. Well, one, I would encourage athletes to continue to use their voice in their platform. One of the great things about the era that we're living in today is that everybody has a platform, whether it's through social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever the case. So I encourage everybody, whether you're a popular athlete, a well-known or not, use your voice. We all have a voice and we all have an impact. And then with that, I would say as we continue to use our voice and call things out, hopefully other people will take note, who are people who aren't even athletes, like people who we witnessed this with different organizations and companies who work in the sports or athletics. They offered their services. So to be able to see that, and then hopefully it continues, like you said, to build its way up. And then we have these companies who are donating and working with us, start calling out the people on top, not just us as athletes, but companies as well, keep demanding that we have equality. A lot of people who say they're for equality and for women's rights and for all of these good things, but I think it's important that if you are about it, be about it and actually invest, because at the end of the day, especially when it comes to sports, it is a business. So in order for it to grow and for us to see actual change, people need to be willing to invest and put their money behind it, because that also leads to the changes that we want to see. And money drives a lot of things. And we're aware of that. Like as female athletes, we're well aware that we understand that takes money to drive certain things and income, it's a business, but help us. These things don't just happen overnight. The NBA, I was reading a book recently where it talked about the NBA shifted once people started investing more money into it, the way that they were narrating and storytelling, there's a whole bunch of stuff that went into it, but when you put money behind things, it helps it to grow and get power behind it. So one argument that I think a lot of us use, especially the W, because people like to compare the NBA and the WNBA a lot. We always like to tell them like, we're only going into our 25th season. The NBA, they've had years of, I don't even know what year they're in, 80 plus maybe? Like they have an advantage on us. Things take time, change takes time, and everything that you do, whether it's developing a new habit, changing systems, things unfortunately don't happen overnight as much as we'd like it to. Things take time, but I think the important thing is yes, to celebrate the small wins and keep holding people accountable, keep pushing the needle forward, keep making the appropriate steps we need so that when we go 5, 10, 15 years from now, we're leaving our situations better off for the next generation, better than we were before. We have to just make sure that we're continuously making progress and understand that we're doing a lot of work now. We might not always get the benefit of it, but future generations will. And that's why it's important that we keep having these discussions, keep challenging things, keep holding people accountable and using your voices, because that's how change essentially happens. But I feel like at the end of the day, like as an athlete, I am outspoken. I always try to share and educate on my part, but at the same time, I'm still learning as well. Like there's still things I'm learning and trying to develop my knowledge in. So I feel like as long as we're willing to continue to learn and continue to gain knowledge and listen to one another, that's how change can happen. And it starts with everybody from the bottom up. Acceptance and conversations. Like actually being open to having these conversations and wanting to make real change and actually being accepting of different athletes, different sports. Again, when you're accepting and willing to listen and learn, that conversation can, let's say conversation, because at the end of the day, when those conversations can happen, everything flows from that. And it starts with communicating and understanding and learning from one another.